Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I know this is kind of like a change of venue. I'm sitting on the other side and it's late at night. It is currently, let's see what time it is. It's currently 1:21 a.m. and tomorrow is Wednesday. It's Cousin Fun Day with my cousin Caroline, which I'm so excited about. And so I don't know what time I'll get home, and I still wanted to film videos for my channel. So I've been sitting out here filming videos for my channels. I'm getting ready to slow it down and start watching some fun TV, some Fear the Walking Dead, some reality shows. My husband and I earlier watched 2 episodes of The Housewives, New York and Salt Lake City. So he went to bed. I'm sitting out here filming some of these videos, so I have something to post tomorrow. I filmed a video for my new channel, my reality show recaps and opinions channel, and then before that I filmed a video for my drama channel, and so then I have this video, and then when I come home I'm going to vlog, and I think those are going to be the videos that I put up. If I'm out and about and I film something with Caroline, then those will be for my other channels. So anyway, I brought different books with me tonight because it's getting so late. So I brought with me The Nightlight by Amy Dean because it's the night one before you go to bed. So I thought that would be kind of appropriate. And then I brought for tomorrow to kind of get us started, The Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone. And then I also brought out the Meditations for Living in Balance. But I'm going to start with the Nightlight one, and we'll just see how far we get into this. Now, obviously, since it is 1:21 in the morning, and when you're watching this, it'll be the 20th, I thought we would just go with it being September 20th, okay? So, ooh, it's a little hard to read over here. Okay, I have all these candles out here. If you've seen my other channels, but I have all these candles out here that I burn, but if I have them on, well, should I put them on? I'll put them on for you guys. So, you can see. It's like little torch lighter for my candles out here. This little light of mine, I'm gonna make it shine. But I'll put these over here, and then I have this one that my husband's friend gave to him. I love this candle. It's like a wood wick candle. I have that one. And then I have these Trader Joe candles. So, well, that could be my video for my Peter Does Stuff channel. I can do a haul when I come home tomorrow. And then Caroline and I can do a review when I'm out. And then I'll just come home and do my vlog, and that'll be it. Oh, that's great. Okay, I'm so excited. All right, so let's get into this. I can see a little bit better. Oh, yeah, I can see a lot better about here now. So September 20th. This is from the Nightlight book by Amy Dean. These are nighttime meditations. Okay. I feel like I need to clean my reading glasses a little bit first. Hold on a second, because they're a little dirty from putting them on, pulling them off while I was making videos. The sounds of the night, so pretty. On my other videos, when I film at night, people always comment on the cicada sounds and stuff like that, but I love it so much. I mean, they laugh at it, they think it's so funny, and I kind of make jokes about it and reference it too, but when I'm just sitting out here, I'm doing my prayers and meditations at night. It just is so peaceful, isn't it? Every once in a while, on the lake, I can hear a bullfrog or something like that. Anyway. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, September 20th. What we usually ask of God is that 2 and 2 not make 4, anonymous. Wouldn't it be nice if only what I wish would happen is, imagine if I should have. Don't these unfinished statements sound familiar? They usually occur when we're looking away from the reality of a situation to the fantasy of what might have been. We may do the same wishful thinking in our prayers. Do we still ask our higher power? Or do we still ask for our higher power to make our parents or child or brother or sister or lover or spouse stop drinking or using drugs? Do we ask for material things? Our higher power isn't a fairy godmother sent to us to grant us wishes we like. Our higher power deals in realities, not wishful thinking. We too need to deal in realities when we pray. That way, we have a much better chance of having our prayers answered. How can I make my prayers more real tonight? I can ask for things I know are possible instead of impossible. Wow, that's interesting. You know, here's the thing for me. I am a believer that you should pray any way that you want to pray. If you want to pray for a new house, pray for a new house. If you want to pray for a Louis Vuitton bag, pray for a Louis Vuitton bag. You know, I have to say that I almost spilled my Coke, my Diet Coke. My cameras. Okay, I need to put this Diet Coke down. Hold on. What I have learned in my life, have you ever seen the movie The Craft, which is about 3 witches in high school? There's a part in there where they're asking the main star about her natural abilities, and she says, well, it doesn't always work the way that I want it to, right? like, I'll wish for a thunderstorm and then like a pipe will break and then the basement will flood or something like that, she says. And I always thought that was so relatable to like my belief in my higher power. Like my higher power kind of works in unanswered prayers, or kind of works in, you know, like just like I'll ask for something and like the polar opposite will happen, but like, you know, like, I don't know really how to explain this. I used to use this example about bills, right? So it's like you ask God, you're like, okay, God, I need more money because I'm really struggling right now and I can't afford to pay these bills and whatever, right? Okay, and then the next day you get like a bill in the mail for something that you didn't expect. And you're like, oh my God, God, like I was just asking you to help me out financially and now I'm getting this bill. Like this is the total opposite. And I think this is where people lose faith in their higher power sometimes. But I started looking at it from a different perspective through the years, and what I realized was maybe that is how God is working in disguise, you know? Like, I believe that my God works in disguise sometimes, and that, you know, so I get this bill, and so then maybe I don't go out to dinner that week, you know, and don't, you know, go and see the movies, or go see a movie in the movie theater, and, you know, don't buy this new Starbucks cup that I want so that I can pay that bill. And then what I realize is, well, I did have the money for it. I just had to, like, maybe not spend some things. And then as I look at that, I think, well, I mean, maybe I don't need to be going out to dinner as much. Maybe we need to save money for just one day night a week. Or maybe I can just, you know, buy a few things here and there that I want, but I don't have to do that all the time. Or I'm like, I used to go to Walmart with Tanya or Meyer like 3 or 4 times a week, and I would go in for deodorant and spend $100. Well, that was $400 of junk that I would come out with that I didn't even really need. And so what I started doing when I was starting to work on like paying off my debt, which I effectively did, was that I would go in and like if I'm like looking at, you know, this book or something, I'd be like, do I really need this, or is this something that I want? Sometimes I would allow myself something that I wanted, but very rarely, you know? And then what I realized over time is, wow, like I've adjusted my spending. Now I have more money, which is what I asked for things. Because I have slowed down my spending as a result of getting this bill, I learned something from it. I think God teaches us in lessons. You know, I don't think that God just grants wishes. I think that God teaches us through lessons. You have to be open to the lesson. You have to be open to the opportunity for change and things like that, you know? I remember when I was going through a breakup and I called my mom, and this is after we had both been sober, and I said something to my mom. My mom was a woman of very strong faith, but she also, you know, was like, she had a lot of very strong, like, she was Lutheran, a lot of strong Christian beliefs, but a lot of, you know, strong, like, Buddhist beliefs as well. And she loved this book called Living Buddha, Living Christ, and it talked about them both being, you know, like, pinnacles of their religious, you know, ideologies, and that they were very similar in what they taught about love and kindness and forgiveness and things like that, you know, and peace. And my mom loved this book so much. My mom was very wise when it came to like perspectives of the world and things like that. I do not love when somebody passes away and like if they had a lot of issues or they weren't necessarily a great person that we saint them immediately. And I don't think that my mother would have loved that happening to her. My mother did the best that she could do raising me, and we definitely had a better time as mother and son after we both got sober, and she was able to slip into the mother role and I was able to slip into the son role, where I had been the parent and she had been the child for a very long time. And so our sobriety gave us those relationships, which I'm so thankful for. But you know, my mom, when I was growing up, it was like she would, you know, binge drink randomly, and then there would be other nights that were Little House on the Prairie. She did the best that she could do, right? But like my mom had a lot of issues, and my mom could be a very difficult person at times. You know, my aunt used to say, she'd call me up and she'd be very upset with my mom. They fought like siblings do, right? And she would say, Peter, if your mother was not my sister, she would not be in my life. My mother drove a lot of people crazy, you know? Like my dad said, she didn't pick her battles and things like that. I don't forget those things. Those are teachable moments to me. My mom wouldn't want me to forget those things about her. Those were things that made her who she was, right? So, you know, when people pass away and they're like, oh, they just could do no wrong and stuff, I'm always like, are we thinking about the same person? Like, I don't think we have to remember everything horrible about them. We can remember them with fondness and love and compassion and things like that and kindness, but let's not forget who they really were, too. You know, my mom wasn't a bad person. She wasn't an evil person by any means. Did she have growth and learning to still accomplish while she was here? Sure she did. I do. We all do, right? So I don't have to paint this picture of my mom like she was something that she wasn't, like she was this wise sage that lived in a cabin up in the mountains, you know, that people came to her. But she was a very wise person. You know, she had her issues, but she was a very wise person. And I remember talking to my mom, I can see myself sitting there talking to her and drinking a cup of coffee, and I was like, Mom, like, I'm like going through this breakup, right? And I'm like, she's like, well, what are you doing about it? And I said, well, I'm praying to God. And she goes, well, what are you praying to God for? And I said, for the relationship to work. And I'll never forget, she kind of like cocked her head and she goes, oh, sweetie, she goes, that's not what we pray for. That's not how it works. And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, we don't pray for things to work out in our lives. Like, you know, we can hope that does, but God is not like what you know, Amy Dean says in this book. God is not a grant wisher or a wish granter. You know, that we pray for things like understanding, compassion, guidance to get us through this situation. Help me to see the way. Help me to have strength to get through these things and things like that. You know, when people are sick. You know, I think it's great to pray over people, and I really believe in the power of prayer. I believe in positive affirmations cumulatively around a lot of people, really do bring people, I think, some sort of healing. I've witnessed it, and I really believe in it, right? But I think also, in that moment, you know, like, I mean, I was just praying the other night for God. I said, God, please, let little Boo Radley do better. Like, I'm really worried about him, but if that's not in your plan, you know, then give me the strength to get through whatever I have to get through. Please give Boo Radley the strength to get well and heal, or get through whatever he has to, right? Give Alex the strength, because this is going to be a difficult time. Boo Radley's doing much better tonight. So, but my mom taught me that. My mom taught me that, you know, it's fine. You can pray for whatever you want to. If you want to pray for a brand new Porsche or a Mercedes, pray for it. I don't know that you'll get it. I don't know that God will have one in your driveway for you tomorrow, right? But I think the more that we pray about things, it's kind of putting out this idea of things we need to work on, right? And so sometimes prayer is just reinforcement of things that we need to do in our head. So if we're praying for strength and compassion and forgiveness and understanding, then those are the things that we're working on as well, right? I don't think that God just grants those things to us just because we ask for them either. We have to do the work, right? You know, I love this analogy in recovery, and it's like, this is like, we talk about higher power and recovery, and that can be God, that can be Buddha, that can be whoever you want, that can be, you know, the group of people around you if you're agnostic or whatever. And there are people that are agnostic and atheist in 12-step programs, and nobody shuns them or shames them. That's what they believe in. That's totally fine, right? And I remember when I was in aftercare with this guy that has since passed away. He was one of my dearest friends, and he was one of the original outlaw biker gangs. He had like killed people and stuff. And here I was, this 22-year-old gay guy, and we just became the best of friends. We were the best of friends in the entire world. The painting that I have in my living room, he gave to me. He gave me another painting that's a mixture of my face with Jerry Garcia's face and John Lennon's face. And he just was just one of the most genuinely, I mean, you want to talk about internal growth and change. He literally, I'll never forget this. Like when people say they give you the shirt off their back. I remember one time I said to him something. I was like, because he was like a big guy, right? And he was an artist and he made all this stuff. And so he had this like, it was like a denim vest and it was all painted and had this like tree or something on the back of it. And then he had this cross that he had made out of 2 nails. And I was like, oh my God, we were like passing each other in the hallway because we ended up working together in the same treatment program that we had both gone through. And I said, oh my God, I love that vest and that necklace. Like, where did you get it? And he was like, I made it. And I'll never forget this. Like, that's all I said. He took the necklace off, he put it over my head, he took the vest off and he handed it to me. I was like, you do not have to do that. He was like, no, I want you to enjoy it. I literally gave the shirt off his back to somebody, you know? But I remember we were in this aftercare group, and he had a brain aneurysm and passed away. It was very sad. He was just such one of the kindest people I've ever met in my entire life, and just was so helpful to me in early sobriety. We both got sober about the same time. And I remember we were looking out this window, and like we were both facing this window looking out of it, and our counselor, who's still a good friend of mine today, she said she loved him too, and worked with him later too. We were talking about higher power, and she said to him, what's your higher power? And he said, I've never really thought about it before. You know, like when you do the things that I've done in this world, you kind of give up on any kind of God or something like that, right? And she said, so you don't believe there's anything bigger than you out there? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, yeah, probably I can believe that. And so we're looking at this tree, right? And she goes, can you make a tree? And he looks at that tree. I'll never forget this. And he cocked his head. And he goes, I can't make a tree. I sure can't do that. And he goes, you know, I think my higher power is going to be the guy that makes trees. And so he would talk about that, you know? It's what resonates with you. You know, so if you want to pray on your knees for a Mercedes or a Porsche or a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, do it. I don't know that God's going to work that way. I don't think that God hands us compassion, kindness, loving, understanding, forgiveness, and truth overnight either. I think we have to work for those things, just like we have to work for the Lamborghini or the Mercedes, right? But the analogy that I love in recovery is, there's like this guy and he's like out in the middle of the ocean and he's drowning, right? And so this boat comes by with these two people in it, and they're like, get in the boat, we'll save you. And he's like, no, God's going to save me, because he has faith, right? And then this helicopter comes by, and they put down this ladder, right? And he's like drowning, trying to tread water. And this helicopter comes over, and they put down this ladder, and they're like, climb up the ladder, we're going to save you. And he's like, no, God's going to save me, Well, he ends up drowning and dying, and he goes to heaven, and he meets God when he's in heaven. And he's like, God, I prayed, like I believed in you, and I prayed, and you didn't save me, and here I am. And God looks at him and he goes, I sent a boat, I sent a helicopter, what more did you want? I love that so much, right? God sends us things that are right in front of our face, and sometimes we don't even see it. And no, I'm not a religious zealot or a religious, well, I don't even know if that's the right word. I'm not just like a Bible thumper religious freak, but I do believe in that. I do believe that my higher power sends me things to use, and it's my option whether or not I do, Maybe some of those things that God is sending to me will get me a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. I don't even want a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, Maybe he'll give me a redo to my house. Now that I would like, right? Or maybe he'll give me the understanding of how to save money so that one day I can make that possible for myself, Maybe God, through other people's stories, will teach me that maybe I don't need to always have something new, that I can enjoy just sitting here on my front porch with some candles, and that's enough for today, I don't know. I think that God teaches us in so many different ways. Maybe God gave me a few more good days with Boo Radley to really remember and appreciate how great that relationship is, and how grateful I am for all the dogs that Alex and I have had together with Tucker and Pee-Pee, Or maybe Boo Radley will live another 20 years. But I've learned that lesson now, I've learned that lesson now. And I'm grateful for it. So, anyway, that's a good meditation. I'm not going to read the other two tonight because I'm already at 17 minutes. So, anyway, I love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.